Hi, I'm Dan from Bodans. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to operate one of our VW hire camper vans. Right, firstly, what we'll do, we'll hook up the van to the electric mains point at the campsite using this lead. But firstly, what we need to do is lift your bonnet. So the bonnet catch is down by your knee while you're in the driving position. So flick the bonnet catch. And then in the centre, just above the VW badge, there's another lever. It's just push the lever up and then the bonnet will then go up on its gas strut. And what I would always recommend is hook up to the vehicle first with your female end, and then the other end, once you've plugged in, go and hook up to the external mains point. So it's just a case of pulling that out of its holder, like so. That is purely just a holder for while you're driving. And then connecting it up to your lead, pushing it together, and then drop your lead into this sort of area here. And then bring the cable through this section here of the grille, and then you can shut your bonnet down onto its first catch, and it'll just sit nicely in that gap there. Then we'll go round and I'll show you how to do the other bits. What I normally do is when I go through a handover, I normally start from the front to the back of the vehicle. By doing that, obviously you'll see how I set it up in a way of when you've pulled up at the campsite, you'll know what order to do everything in. So just showing you where the diesel goes in. It is diesel, and then you've got AdBlue there. We always top up the AdBlue, monitor that before it actually goes out on a hire, but obviously that's where the AdBlue goes, diesel in that section there. And you'll need to open the side door to be able to access this flap, because there is a security catch on there to enable stop people opening it, obviously when you're not there. Right, going on from that then, we'll spin this seat round. I'll just open the sliding door. So we'll spin this passenger seat round so people can face each other. What you have to do is pull the seat forward a little bit on its slider, so the armrest just comes past that B pillar, and then I tend to lean on it, and then there's a catch. If you go around, I'll show you where the catch is. Louise, yeah. So pull the catch towards you. As you're pulling it towards you, then you'll push then with your stomach, and then you can rotate the seat around. You do have to make sure that you've jacked the seat up to be able to do this first. Jacking it up allows these skirts, plastic skirts, to come above the seat base, and it stops them catching onto it. So once you've spun it around, then you can slide the seat back again, like that. Then going on from that, I would then lift up the roof. So the roof is held down when you're driving by these straps and buckles. So to undo them, just pull the strap out, open the buckle, and pull the strap out of the buckle. There's two of them. So on this side, pull the strap out, and then you can then lift up the roof. So it's important that you have the sliding door open when you lift up the roof to allow the air to sort of escape and it doesn't cause a vacuum. So with the sliding door open, you've just got to give it a little push, like so, and then the roof goes up. And then to operate the roof bed, you can't just push it at the front because it will damage the first hinge. Because it's double hinged, you have to push it that way, and then the roof will go up. So moving on to the appliances in the kitchen unit, we've got the sink, hob, we've got a gas oven and grill, and then you've got your compressor fridge that runs off the leisure battery. So first of all, your sink, it's a case of just lifting up the lid, lift your tap up, and then on the control panel over here, you've got a pump switch. To make it live, you push it in at the top, so you see red underneath. It's an upside down switch because it's a trip switch, and if there's an issue, it'll just trip out. But pushing it in at the top, then going back over to your sink, obviously lift up the tap and then it'll let the water out. I'll show you where the water is at the back when we go round further on down the vehicle. When you've finished with it, obviously you've got a drain here that will just go out through the floor of the vehicle, and then it's a case of just pushing the tap back down again and then closing the lid. Going on from that is your hob. So it's a 2-burner gas hob, and to light it, again, I'll show you where the gas bottle is at the back. It's housed in a metal locker, but you'll need to have turned your gas on, turn the dial to the flame, hold your finger on it so you're pushing it in, and then press your piezo. Once it's lit, then you can, after say 3 or 4 seconds, let your hand off and then it will stay lit. It's the same with the right hand one. You'll notice on this particular one, the left hand one is a slightly smaller burner than the right. So if you're boiling a kettle, I would use the right hand side. While it's lit as well, or should I say before it's lit, it is a good idea that you open the sliding window to this vent point here to allow any ventilation or ventilation into the vehicle while you're cooking. And that is just a case of pushing that catch there and opening the window up to that vent point. Just going back to your hob, when you finish cooking, it's important that obviously you make sure that you've turned it off completely by the circle there facing the circle on the hob, and likewise on the other side if you've used both of them. And then allow it to cool down before you close the lid. On the gas oven and hob, you've got obviously the 2 features. So if we want to light the gas, it's a case of opening the oven door and then turning it to gas and then pressing the piezo again with the grill button pushed in. And then it will light. Once it's lit again, 3 or 4 seconds, keep on holding the button in, then let it go. And then that will stay lit. Obviously, you won't be closing your door when you're using the grill. When you want to use the oven side of it, you would obviously be in the off position, turn it to the full setting, which I think is gas mark 6. Again, oven door open, press the electronic piezo. Once it's lit, 3 or 4 seconds again, then let your hand off it, then turn it to the desired setting, and then you can close your oven door. When you've finished with it, again, open the oven door, turn it off, take out whatever's in there, let it cool down, shut the door. Moving on from the oven, we've got now the fridge. Going over to the control panel, you've got to make sure that fridge is on, which we generally leave the fridge on and water on when you pick up a hire vehicle, especially the fridge, because we try to cool it down for when you want to go away. So again, push it in at the top, back over to your fridge. It opens from left to right. You've got a freezer compartment in here, and your thermostat is this button here. So generally the best setting is about light 3 from the top. You can make it colder by going down to the 4th one, or slightly warmer to the top one, and it just sort of toggles by pressing the button, and it will jump down, then jump all the way to the top. As I say, the best setting in my experience is number 3 from the top. There is a vent catch on the door. We have had a few people that have actually knocked it when they've walked past it or rubbed their leg on it, which means it won't shut completely. It's because it's meant to be in that position when the fridge is not in use. So it's a case of just turning it back again, shutting the door. Above the fridge, we've got a cutlery compartment for storing things. There is a first aid kit. One thing I want to point out, if you do put items in there, there is a waste pipe underneath at the back. It's just important that you don't push anything large in there and push the waste pipe off. Behind the driver's seat is the table. So if you want to stand back, the table is toggled, secured by these toggles. Lift the table out. Now these catches need to be open, and then to lift the leg up, you must follow the arrow first, pull it over to the right, and then back up with the leg, and then it will click into place. And then these sections here will go onto this rail. So you can put the rail in any section and it will slide forwards and backwards, or if you want it closer to you, you'd lift it over that section in the middle and then you can bring it to you. You can then obviously find your position, lock it into place there, and it won't jump off the rail. And then when you want to put it away again, undo the catches, lift it back off, again take the weight off it, push it to the right, drop it down, and then stow it away behind the driver's seat. Moving on to the electrics. So if you come over here to the control panel, so we've got 3-pin sockets. There's one there, there's also one on the front of the bed. There's also a 12-volt socket here. So starting with your 3-pin sockets, when you hook up to the campsite using the orange lead, these will automatically come live, and you'll be able to plug in any sort of household appliance, hair dryers, things like that. But they'll only work using your orange lead hooking up to an external main supply. Your 12-volt socket, that's like a phone charger, you can plug fans in, things like that. That is turned on by this auxiliary switch here. Again, like mentioned before, you push all your switches in at the top so you can see red underneath. So, and you've also got USB points there. They'll just stay on all the time, and you just put your phone charging lead into there. On your control panel, this is your main on-off switch. So that should always be on during your hire period. And then you've got a light switch here. That does the lights under the overhead cupboards. Then you've got second light switch, which does the lights on the near side of the van in the roof frame area. Then we've got water pump, that sends the power to the pump. Then we've got fridge, that sends the power to the fridge. Obviously this should be on all the time when you collect the vehicle. And as mentioned before, you've got your auxiliary for this socket here. Around from the control panel, we've got your diesel heater, and this is the control thermostat. The heater actually is underneath your driver's seat, and that fan duct there you can rotate to blow the direction of the heat on any angle. Moving back over to the control panel, so to turn it on, it's just a case of pressing the top right hand corner button, and then it always defaults at 21°C, which is comfortable room temperature. What I tend to do is turn it to the highest setting, which is 35°C. To register that setting, you press your finger in on the button to register it. It takes about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes for it to really kick in, get nice and hot. And then once you've got your sort of room temperature up, then I would then slowly turn down the heat to whatever setting is comfortable and then register it again. When you've finished with it, you would just press the green button. Once it'll go then white, and then it'll go down a cool down mode, which takes about 3 or 4 minutes again. And then that timer, or that display should I say, will actually go black and time out. If you want to operate it again, it's just press this top right hand button. At night time, if you have the heating on, I would definitely wind down your passenger door window or open your kitchen window just about 1/2 inch or so, just to allow the van to breathe. Because what happens, you will get a build up of condensation in the morning when you wake up. So by having a bit of ventilation, normally passenger window I find is best, helps obviously alleviate that. So the van comes with some basic cooking utensils. They're stowed away in this cupboard here. So you've got the kettle, saucepan, frying pan, and then obviously plates and bowls. You've got some washing up liquid in there and a dustpan just to clean the floor. In this cupboard here, we've got mugs and cups. And then in this one here, we've got the knives, forks and bits and bobs in there. On the overhead cupboards, this is just left empty, so obviously there's storage there for whatever you want to pack. And then there's a big storage area at the rear here. Generally I put clothing in there and bits and bobs like that. So moving on to how to operate the seat into a bed. So you've got your 3 sections on this bed. You've got your first lever here. Now once you push that in, you've got to keep it in while you rotate the cushion over. You can put your hand down in any of these positions. You're not going to chop your fingers in anything or trap them. Rotate the cushion over, keeping that lever in. Find your horizontal position, let the lever go. Before you put any weight on this cushion, make sure you pull the lever forward just a little bit and just give the cushion a wiggle to make sure the brake's locked into the mechanism. Then you can put your weight on it, and then we've got the next cushion to bring down, which is operated by this bar here. So holding the buckles at the top, lift up the bar and pull that forward and it will drop into place. And then we've got a third cushion at the back, which is mainly used for a backrest if you want to sit up in bed. Holding on to the cushion, push the lever down like the first lever at the front, pull the cushion up, let the lever go, make sure the lever is lifted up and you give the cushion a wiggle, and then you can actually sit up in bed in the morning having a cup of tea without having to lean against the back doors. And then to put it back to a seat, hold the cord, push the lever down, let the cushion go down to its horizontal position. Just give it a wiggle again. Moving on to the middle cushion. This sort of position I get into, so because this is the heaviest cushion of the lot, holding on to the seatbelt buckles and just push it back over, it'll lock into place. By the way, there is tons of storage underneath here. Louise, if you want to come over and show that area, that's accessible either through the top now or you've got the front doors on the bed panel. So to put this cushion back to a seat, it's hold on to the cushion, push the lever in, rotate the cushion over and it drops into place, let the lever go. And these are the doors I mentioned that you can put tons of items in there out the way. So that's the bed. So moving round to the back of the camper van is where we'll access your boot space, your gas and your water, and also your jack in the event of a puncture. Your spare wheel is located underneath the van. Your jack is located there and your wheel brace, and also there's a warning triangle there. We've got the van hooked up at the moment, but it's with one of our leads. This is how your lead will come in this case here, and it should be about a 10-meter lead to hook up. To access the gas area, it's probably easier that you lift this rear cushion up, similar to how I showed you on the inside. So push that lever down, get it up so far, push the lever down again, and then you can access this area without having to bend down. To take the cover off, turn the dials, pull that off. You'll see there's a gas tap there, so when you want to use your hob, you need to turn your gas on, and then when you want to turn it off, you turn the gas off. Generally I would have it turned off when I'm driving, or some people like to do it at night time, but it's pretty safe, you know, to have on all the time while you're stationary and camped on the site, but when you're driving you need to turn it off. To take the gas bottle out, now we do give a spare gas bottle in the event of it running out through cooking. We put a spare bottle at the end in your water cupboard. To change the bottle, it can be a little bit fiddly, so it's undo the strap, push the gas bottle in at the bottom and then tilt it from the top and you can take it out. And then keep the tap onto this pigtail, and I just undo it like that, spin it. I won't take it off all the way, but then that will disconnect from that bottle, get the new bottle, take off the cap on the new bottle, and then I tend to spin it back on, like so. Make sure it's nice and tight, and then your strap, put it back in, like so, and then tighten your strap back up. And then you can turn your gas back on again, and then your cover back on. Going on from the gas to the water, which is housed in here. So you've got a pipe with a pump on the end of it that submerges into the water tank, and to change or to fill up your water, undo the strap. You can do that one all the way, take the container out. Now there's a sealed cap for when you're carrying it to and from the tap. Unscrew the lid, take the pump out, give it a little shake, have it hanging over the back of the vehicle. You can then go and take this, fill it up at the tap. When you bring it back, it's just the reverse again. Drop it into the water and then seal it back up and house it back into the cupboard by doing up the strap. That's that. I'll put the seal cap back in. You can access the top of the tambored cupboard where your clothing or whatever you put in there from the rear of the vehicle. In that section there is your consumer unit. You don't need to do anything with that. It's like your household one. You've just got circuit breakers there. They all need to be in the up position. If it trips, just go to it, lift them back up again. Behind that cupboard there is vehicle fuses for your lighting, things like that. So that's generally the rear of the van. So at night time, there is curtains in the back for privacy and stop the light coming in. They just close simply like that. There's curtains all the way around, only in the back. In the front area, which is the cab, we've got some external wraparound cab screens, which I'm going to go on and show you now. So this is your external thermal cab screen. This would normally be in a bag in the boot of the vehicle area along with your hookup lead. But it's a case of taking it out of that, unravelling it. It probably is a two-man job, so you'll have to bear with me when I'm doing this. Throw it onto the bonnet or the windscreen. And then if you want to come round here, Louise, and wrap it round your mirror, Velcro it onto there, open the door slightly, sleeve it in, and then shut your door, back round the other side, round your mirror, Velcro it together, open the door. And as you can see, there's some internal pockets, triangular pockets. They slip over the driver and passenger doors. And then shut your door. Put your wipers over the top. And just straighten it up. And then if the Velcro comes apart, just tidy it up at the end. I think that was successful on my own. Right, now I've gone around and shown you how to operate the van. We'll put it back into a driving position, which would be dropping the roof, disconnecting the hookup lead, and rotating the seat back round so it's facing forward. So we would normally do the roof first. It's really important, like I said, when you're lifting it up, that you must have this sliding door open when you bring the roof down. Because what happens is the air inside will need to escape and it bellows the canvas out. and therefore if the canvas comes out, it will get caught on the scissor hinges up in the roof area there. So sliding door open, roof bed down, like so. If I open this door, Louise, you might be able to see me better from this angle. So grabbing the handles here, bring the roof down slowly, this sort of speed, until the roof touches your head. Then let go with one hand, reach down and pull the canvas in, swap hands, reach down, pull the canvas in, and then spin around to face forward. Let the roof drop a little bit further, bring the canvas in at the front, and as you're bringing it in, roll it into a sausage, and then let the roof down. And then on each side, tuck the canvas in. And then you've got two straps, as I mentioned, when you were lifting up the roof, to strap it down and secure it. So you need to make sure that it goes in through the first loop, down into the bottom loop. Put the strap through the buckle by pressing the buckle open and tightening the strap. Wrap your hand around it and push the bottom of the buckle, not opening it again, and pull at the same time. You can get a nice tension on it. And then I go round once and do a little slip knot to take up the slack, and then push the excess of the strap underneath the canvas. Moving on to this side, exactly the same. Into the hoop, open the buckle, put the strap through, and then tighten the buckle, push and pull on the strap. Little slip knot again, like so, and then tuck that away, and just make sure the canvas on both sides is tucked in. And then we'll spin this seat back round forward. So it's a case of turning it around. If you haven't got it positioned correctly, it's going to hit the B pillar. So you need to slide the seat forward by this lever here, enough so that reaches and easily moves. You need to make sure the seat's back jacked up if you've moved it down all the way. So back up again, clear the B pillar, and then spin it around. Make sure it locks into place, and then it won't go anywhere. Drop the seat back down to whatever position is comfortable and slide the seat back. Knock the lights off on the control panel, the pump off, auxiliary off, leaving fridge on if you've got food in the fridge, and leisure on. Now that's pretty much it. I don't think I've missed anything. If you've got any questions, please give us an email, a call. We'll be happy to answer any questions. The van will come with a full tank of fuel. When you drop the van off, it must have a full tank of fuel in it on your hand back to us. That's it. Hope you have a fantastic holiday. And as I said, any questions, please get back to us. Thank you.